my dear friends. Welcome to my channel Intermundos Magicae, or Magic Between Worlds. My name is Nayeli, and today we are going to do another timeless pick a card reading. We are going to look at today at who is cursing or hexing you. Now, before we get into the reading, there's some very important things that we need to discuss about what is a curse, what is a hex, and when do you know if someone is cursing or hexing you. So the first thing that is very important for me to say is that you shouldn't base an opinion on who exactly is cursing you based only on this reading alone. So every time if you have some kind of suspicion that you are under a curse or a hex, you should always verify from multiple sources. This reading alone isn't enough for you to go out and flat out accuse someone of cursing or hexing you, okay? So first, because it's a general reading, and also because in general you shouldn't only use one kind of source of confirmation. You need at least, I would say you need to verify from at least 3 or 4 different angles to really confirm that this is what's happening to you. There are many signs to look out for. There are many, things that you can try to identify. The other thing that is really important to say, and probably I should have mentioned that in the first place, is that not every streak of bad luck is a curse or a hex. So it's not because something bad happened to you that automatically you can assume that someone is cursing or hexing you. Sometimes bad things happen just because bad things happen, and there's not more to look into it. On the other hand, if you do your research and you receive confirmation from multiple sources and you can recognize strong signs of a curse or a hex, then this might be something that you can consider and that you can, see how you want to address the situation. So I'm not going to go over all the signs, whether someone is cursing or hexing you here in this video, because we're going to do a reading. But if it's something that you would like me to do a separate video on, please let me know in the comments. What I am going to address though is I'm going to speak just a little bit on what is the difference between a curse and a hex, because a lot of the times these words kind of get used interchangeably and they're not. They're two different things. So a hex is actually a magical attack, someone performing some kind of ritual or magical act to try and attack you spiritually in some way. This is a hex. A curse, on the other hand, isn't necessarily conscient. So someone can curse you simply by sending a lot of negative thoughts and energy your way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that this person is doing a magical ritual or a witchcraft or anything like that to curse you. It's something that can happen sometimes unconsciously when we're just in contact with really toxic people in our lives, and sometimes we fall on people that really do not wish us well, and because of that it can kind of energetically put a curse on us on some level, depending of how powerful in their thought manipulation and energy, how powerful this other person is. So this is the difference between the two. So what can this reading do for you? So please take this reading as a general reading and take it as a way to maybe receive some kind of message or some kind of clarity if you do feel you are under a curse or a hex. This can provide some level of confirmation. But if it's your first kind of level of confirmation, if it does resonate, then take it as an invitation to maybe look at the situation from different angles and search for more personal kind of clarification. I do offer private readings. If you'd like to book a reading with me, you can do so through my Etsy shop. You find the link of my Etsy shop in the description below this video. And you won't see a listing for readings on my Etsy shop. You'll need to request a custom order. And the reason for that is because, I don't see readings as a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. So it's really based on your needs, also your budget. I really try to be as flexible and affordable as possible when I offer readings to people, because I see it as medicine and I don't want people to not have medicine available simply because they can't afford it. So simply request a custom reading, a custom order on my Etsy shop, and send me a message telling me that you'd like a reading. Describe to me a little bit what kind of reading that you'd like, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so all that being said, let's move on to the reading. So we are going to choose between 3 objects. Each object already has a card associated with it, but we're not going to look at the card right now. So for pile number 1, you have this black feather, or dark brown feather. For pile number 2, you have this malachite pendulum style pendant. And for pile number 3, you have this angel figure pendant. So take the time to see which pile resonates with you most. Pause this video if you need. So again, this is pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. And before you move on to your pile, if you can do me a huge favor, like this video and subscribe to this channel. It really does make a huge difference in making this channel grow, and to reach more people with this message, more people that might need it. Also, please let me know in the comments if the reading resonated with you and which pile you chose. I really love to read the comments and see your feedback on the readings. So without further ado, let's move on to pile number 1. Welcome, dear friends of pile number 1. So if you're here, means that you chose this feather. Now the message that I'm getting if you chose this feather is that this is hitting close to home. There is something about feeling protected in your home, family. So something with family members potentially. But if it's family members, I feel there's something linked to where you live and the place that you consider home, is what I'm getting. So it might be something that you feel threatened, or that you feel within your household. It can also be someone that is kind of trying to attack the core sense of safety, of security within your home. So we're gonna see what the cards have to say. And the card that is here, we're gonna look at it at the end. So we're not gonna have a look right now. Right now we're gonna look at the tarot. So yeah, some strong message there about family member, the sense of security in your household, even your physical your physical home. I'm going to start with 3 cards. Can I get 2 more cards from Spirit, please? Pile number 1. One last card to start for pile number 1. Interesting. So the message I'm getting is that someone might be envious about how you are with yourself. I think that you are at a stage of life where you feel comfortable with yourself, you know who you are, you love yourself, you know, to at least a good degree. We all need to work on self-love, but to a certain degree you're someone who's kind of, you know, well achieved in that area, and you're in general, like it seems like in general perspective of things, you are solid and happy, and someone might be a little bit kind of envious of that, envious of your strength, also envious of how you're managing to tackle things in life, because that person might be more irresponsible, more immature, has a harder time dealing with responsibilities and just general things in life, and is kind of envious of you that is kind of so much together in everything. And for that reason, you know, this can affect you. If someone is sending so much negative energy towards you, of envy, you know, this can start affecting things that happen in your life. So let's clarify a little bit. Okay. Yeah, it's almost like you're at a stage where maybe you're a bit at a crossroads, where a lot of interesting things are happening for you at the moment, and it's kind of a time for you where you're starting fresh and you're starting on a new journey, and you have decisions to make towards that journey, and this person is kind of injecting conflict. It's making all that process difficult and with, you know, conflictual, even though it doesn't need to be. And so you might be in a situation where you feel, where you ask yourself, like, why is this so hard? Why is this so hard? Why is, you know, I'm trying to, all these great things are happening. I have this great opportunity. I need to, you know, I'm choosing if I'm going this way or that way. And it could be great and it should be easy, but somehow stuff happen, and for some reason it's complicated when really it shouldn't be. So this might be someone who is younger than you also. that is causing this. Someone who's younger, less experienced than you, kind of injecting the situation with a lot of negativity, coming from envy, jealousy, overall immaturity, I would say. Someone not really responsible and not very mature. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper in this. For some of you, it might be also about a past romantic relationship. It might be that you've let go of a relationship sometime in your past, and now something new is opening. A new relationship is opening, and that ex, that person, isn't able to accept that somehow, and is injecting the situation with kind of a lot of jealousy and envy and anger that is causing conflicts for some reason, when really there doesn't need to be any. It's kind of carrying the burdens of the past into that new relationship. Because that new relationship looks really good. It looks really positive. Looks like something that brings you happiness and fulfillment, or has the potential to. If it's in its early stages, it feels like it could blossom in something very, very beautiful in terms of fulfillment and happiness. And it's definitely that new relationship, if that's the case, is with someone who has a much higher degree of maturity, and that is probably not helping the other person who kind of watches this with envy. Yeah. So yeah, double. This is crazy. You have the double 5 of swords here. So there's a lot of conflict arising from this. It might be someone who's actively interfering, putting themselves in the situation, kind of threatening that sense of security, because of course, like romantic partners, we bring them in our homes, right? So it is linked to your sense of home, of family, of household, safety of where you live. So it might be someone who's actively kind of interfering, either by spying or by showing up when they're not supposed to show up, or by, sending messages to people, or trying to mess up the situation somehow. So yeah, let's have a look at the card that was there from the beginning. Yeah, so change or travel at the horizon. So this card, four of hearts, it really means moving forward, letting go of the past, moving forward, and positive changes for the better, or moving away. It can also be like about moving away. That's the travel kind of meaning. So it could be also that this person is just sees their hold on you diminishing, and they're not okay with that, which is obviously very, very toxic behavior. So yeah, best thing to do with someone like that is to cut ties as much as possible, I guess. But yeah, again, all these readings, you should seek confirmation also through other means before going and openly accusing anyone. But if it resonates, then there's maybe something to look more deeply into. Okay, so this is for pile number 1, and thank you for being here. Hope to see you next time. Welcome, dear friends of pile number 2. So if you're here, it's because you chose this pendulum style malachite pendant. Okay. So the message is coming to me if you chose this pendant. Malachite is quite a strong stone for attracting wealth and abundance. So there's a message that is coming to me about your professional life, about career, being able to create the work that you love, and in general a sense of your kind of your workspace, your work environment, the people that you work with, maybe someone kind of potentially affecting that on that level. It could be about, greed and jealousy of your achievements, greed or jealousy over your financial situation also, if your financial situation is good, or someone trying to hurt you on that level. So if you've taken many financial hits lately and you feel this is, potentially what a curse or a hex is targeting, it might be someone that is kind of trying to affect that level in your life out of greed, mostly. The big message that I'm getting here is greediness. There's also another kind of message that is coming about kind of being mesmerized. Almost like if this person affecting you is kind of like you wouldn't necessarily suspect it. It can be someone who from the outside looks very welcoming, very charming, very very well disposed towards you, but secretly is kind of holding grudges or greediness or jealousy or anger. This kind of covert kind of aggressivity, like passive aggressiveness also. This kind of thing I'm getting, this kind of message I'm getting. So let's see what the cards say. We're going to put this card aside and only look at it in the end. And let's start with the tarot. So let's start with 3 cards. The spirits want 3 cards for pile number 2. Two more cards. Spirit, please, for pile number 2. Okay. These two came out together. Okay, so this card came out twice in two different decks for pile number one. So it really shows that we're talking about curses and hexes, because this is the card about conflict. So quite a strong reading here. So there are two main ways that I see this reading right now. So the first one is that this card represents you, and if that represents you, then I see someone that is kind of very visionary, someone maybe in a position of authority at work, and someone who's very highly esteemed professionally for envisioning things, for how they're able to take directions and decisions, but to kind of, make plans, see the future, someone that can make a business grow in terms of having visions for that business, having ideas, and who's very, very respected for that. I see things like, creative director in mind, or, someone working in strategy, anything that has to do with vision, being a visionary is what I'm seeing. So this might be you, or this might be someone you are working with. So first, if this is you, then what I'm seeing is that there are potentially some conflict in the workplace. There are some people who maybe would like to have the kind of recognition that you have, that people give to you, and that kind of try to manipulate things in a way that you maybe don't look as good in certain situations. So it might be that opportunities are coming up, and that person is I see sabotage. Like, this is what I'm seeing. I see some kind of like professional sabotage to some certain extent. And this can be conscious or unconscious. I'm not saying that this other person is consciously trying to sabotage. It can be also like energetically sabotaging. But there's kind of something of something turning sour, or something that you thought was going to go well turning sour. And I have this really strong message of you had it coming. Like that person thinking towards you, you had it coming. And if this person is not you, then this might be someone you are working with that is in position of power, that is in this role, and that is kind of professionally suppressing you in some way. And again, this might be actual tangibly happening, or it can just be energetic. Making just things harder. Maybe you're trying to achieve some kind of promotion and you're not able to achieve it because you feel like energetically there's always these blocks. And you're trying to bring your ideas and you're trying to bring new things at the table, but somehow energetically these things are never really recognized. And it's causing a lot of conflict in your workspace environment. So let's continue and clarify. Interesting. So the cards are kind of confirming everything that I said. So here, the Hierophant is a strong card of institution. So this might mean, you know, like working in some kind of enterprise kind of situation. You know, I feel more like a big business kind of situation. Or it can also mean, you know, what I'm seeing is like, it can be like academic, like a university. You know, if you're a student and you feel like you're dealing with teachers that have power play, you know, something like that. But there is something about an institution. And there is also something about you that potentially is appearing where I feel that you might be someone who is very driven. I kind of feel this kind of passionate heart, you know, this passion for what you're doing and kind of a sincere desire of, you know, really going for it in the best of ways, you know, like moving forward, going for it, achieving things because you love what you're doing and you're passionate about what you're working on and you want this to shine. But it might be that someone is kind of looking at this drive and not feeling so happy about it for some reason, especially if you work with older generations that are in position of power. So there's might be this kind of power play here in that sense. But again, this doesn't mean that this person is openly out to get you. It might just be that this person is energetically thinking this, and because this person's energy is so strong, it might be affecting how things are developing for you. Just this is what a curse is theoretically. So what I have to say also is that I don't feel that this is something very heavy. So I feel like you might be dealing with a situation like this, but at the same time, I feel that at least maybe for most of you, I'm not saying for all of you, of course, because it's a general reading, but for most of you, I don't see this as a super heavy situation. I see it as uncomfortable, inconvenient, and of course it's never fun to be in a situation where you know, working in a situation where you feel like your coworkers or your colleagues or whatever maybe are not, that don't have like the best the best thoughts, you know, about your work, about you in general. So it's uncomfortable, but I don't feel it's affecting deeply your life in the strong way that a curse can affect. You know, so it's more on the light side situation from what I can see. But again, this is a general reading, so this might not apply to all of you. You know, probably different degrees for each and every one, but in a general sense, this is what I'm getting for the reading. So I'm going to continue clarifying. A lot of youthful energy in this reading. I have a feeling that, you know, maybe a lot of you might be more on the beginning side of your professional career. Um, some of you might even be, young entrepreneurs, or young business owners, first-time business owners, first time managing a team or something like that. Also like higher education kind of stuff, masters or PhD students, even undergrads. Okay, I made a mess. I'm gonna have to pick that up. Huh, yeah, interesting. Okay, so a lot of confirmation. So like I said, lots of useful energy. I feel that many of you also are working really hard to grow professionally right now. You want to improve your situation. You want to maybe get some kind of promotion, or you're maybe trying to grow a business. Professionally, you're trying to reach to the next level. But the situation with the conflict and everything, the tension maybe that you might be experiencing in the workplace, there's a little bit of a cautionary thing here where it might kind of block your vision of options that you have. So there is a little bit of a message here of trying to detach yourself from that situation. And if someone is really trying to affect you energetically, one way that you could break that would be to try to close yourself to the effect of that situation and open your vision a little bit. Try to see things outside of the box. Try to look at things in a different angle, because there might be things and options that you're not seeing because you're just so caught up in the situation. And also there's a message of you being a very strong manifester. So things, again, this doesn't feel like it's a very heavy reading. So if there is people influencing you in terms of a curse or a hex, I feel it's pretty light. Even I would say it's not very effective. But again, everyone is different, and this is a general reading, so it really depends. But there is a strong message of you being a strong manifester, and you can surpass this. You can get over this, and this is just a little inconvenience in your way. It's not such a big deal. So let's look at the card that was associated with the object that you chose. Wow, and this is a beautiful confirmation. So this is the Three of Wands, and it's reaching for new heights. So yeah, what did I just say? Like you're in a situation where you're really trying to reach for the next level. So if anyone is affecting you energetically, this is what they're trying to attack, but ultimately it feels like you will get there. You will get to where you need to be. Okay, thank you very much, pile 2. Thank you for being here, and let's move on to pile 3. Welcome, dear friends of pile 3. So if you're here, it's because you chose this pendant here with kind of an angel figure. So there's an interesting message coming to me if you chose this pendant. So this is one of my magical jewelry pieces, but it also has an interesting history, and I'm not going to go in detail of the history of this pendant here, but it is kind of a family heirloom. Not my family, but it was a family's heirloom for some time. And so there's a message here coming to me, if you chose this one, that is, if you feel that you're under some kind of hex or curse, it might be a generational curse. So it might be something that has been affecting your family for many generations. It's not about you specifically. It's something that your bloodline or your family has been carrying for some time now, for some generations. So if you do really feel that this is a situation that applies to you, then you should of course seek for confirmation by other means. Probably also get a private reading from me or someone else, someone that you trust. But I would look into the possibility of generational curse. And you can also, try to recognize patterns within your family, see if this is something that resonates with you. So let's see what the cards say. We're not going to look at this card right now. We're going to look at it at the end. And for now, we're going to go with the tarot. So if we can have 3 cards from Spirit. Interesting. So the message I'm getting is someone has been hurt very deeply within your family's history in a way that has affected them so deeply that it kind of influenced everything that went on within kind of that family nucleus for years to come. And it's kind of like something that stayed dormant for many years until the event that happened kind of got lost through time, but the effect of it kind of stayed dormant. Almost as if someone has been hurt so deeply by someone who I feel was a younger person, someone who didn't really understand the consequences of their actions. And that person that was hurt never forgot and never forgave. And that kind of anger and resentment kind of stayed dormant and festered through the months, the years, the generations. And this might be, so I'm talking, because I'm getting the message of generational curse, but if the thing of generation doesn't apply to you, because I don't feel that it's going to apply necessarily to everybody, this can also be a situation that is more recent. So let's continue down to close the pyramid. Yeah. There's kind of a vengeful, something about vengeance here. And not necessarily like out in the open vengeance, but someone that wished ill for a very long time, really keeping it inside, you know, like kind of ruminating and kind of not expressing it, and just kind of, yeah, keeping it like within is what I'm getting. And this is something that kind of emotions that festered through the years. Yeah, someone who sought vengeance. And this might be a current situation, or it might be, as I said, something that is kind of generational. In this case, this is the case where I would feel more like there's a hex that could potentially be involved, because it feels like someone actively sought to do harm to someone, or actively did something concrete to kind of curse a family line, curse a bloodline, hex a family line, hex a bloodline. And especially if this happened generations before, then that wasn't so, I mean, depending of the culture that you come from, but you know, that wasn't so unusual to seek the assistance of a witch, a shaman, you know, a bruja, you know, depending of the culture you come from, someone who can do something magical to curse or hex. So yeah, the message of vengeance is coming pretty heavily in this reading. And also, but it's also important to know that this person did that because that person was extremely hurt at the beginning of all this. So a lot of the times with these especially if it's a generational curse, understanding the magician. So I was just saying, you know, this might be someone that actually sought help to curse or hex, and the magician comes up. So yeah. So I was gonna say, what was I gonna say? Let me find my train of thought back. Yeah, so it's important to remember that, you know, whatever this person did to hex or curse comes from the fact that they've been themselves very hurt. So especially if it's a generational thing, a lot of the times it's understanding the cause of that hurt and kind of seeking a way to appease this energy of hurt, kind of appease the spirit of this person that has been so hurt, you know, and seek forgiveness on behalf of. This could be one way, it's not the only way, it's one way that these kind of curses can be addressed. But it can also be something that's a little bit more recent, not necessarily generational linked, but the generational message is pretty heavy in this reading, I would say. And yeah, again, there's this kind of young versus older, more mature energy with the magician. uh, you know, really kind of feel like an older person hurt by a younger person, with this younger person not being fully aware of the impact of their actions. I don't think that the person that did the bad deed was necessarily looking to hurt or harm someone, but it happened. And it seemed like that person that was hurt, it was someone with some influence, with some authority, some influence. It was kind of not the person to mess with, and they felt like they were messed with, and that really, really touched their ego, touched them to the core, and that is why they sought vengeance. Could be something, a romantic situation, a love triangle involved. Yeah. Could be something like that. Maybe someone was cheated on, really didn't take it well. This kind of situation. It does feel like an old story. So it might be something more recent, but the way this is playing out, it does feel like something that is not of our time, you know. Yeah, this kind of love triangle of an influential family, you know, and then someone younger comes along and takes one of the partners away, and the other person can't take it, and there's something very kind of medieval almost about the whole vibe I get from the reading. But generational curses are not to be taken lightly. They can really affect, yeah, Knight of Swords. Wow, double Knight of Swords. So yeah, something really very impulsive, very, you know, looking to harm and to get vengeance of this person that wronged them, is very, very strong in this reading. So generational curses are important to address because they're very insidious, in the sense that a lot of the times you don't necessarily realize that you're under some kind of curse or hex like this, but there is maybe one aspect of your life that you can't seem to get ahead. You know, for some people it's their romantic life, for some people it's their professional life, financially. There's something kind of always preventing it from blossoming in the way it should. So this can sometimes be an indication of having a generational curse and needing to break it. So yeah, definitely, if this is something that you resonate with, so it's worth asking questions to family members or understanding a little bit better about your family's history or bloodline, and you know, to the point of, you know, either taking action yourself or seeking a professional spiritual help to try to neutralize the situation. Let's have a look at the card that is associated with the pendant. So the card, yeah, achieving greatness. So, you know, this is maybe something about you wanting to do great things, achieve great things, and maybe you feel some obstacles towards that, or you feel like energetically it's always harder than what it must be. But it also is a beautiful card that says that you have the potential to achieve greatness. So it's a very, very positive card. So this is reading for pile 3. I hope it resonated. If it did, please let me know in the comments. And I hope to see you next time.